Hey everyone, my name is RevTrev with Canucks. So glad you're here. Today we're going to be talking about the playoffs. Are you kidding me right now? The playoffs. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but my intro, I forgot, I hit the wrong button. I did the outro, so I did the intro after. Thanks so much for your patience. I thought I hit the right button. But today we're talking about the playoffs, everyone. The playoffs. I mean, we're past the trade deadline now. We've built this team. We're excited about the future, but we're also excited about the present, right? When you stream, you got to have some H2O. Look at this cool cup, by the way. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so we're going to talk about the playoffs. And I know that people are like, oh, it's too early. We haven't made it. We're making it. We're making it. We're the number one team in the Western Conference right now. Everything would have to fail and fall off the wagon. Just the wheels got to come off in order for us not the playoffs. So we're going to start talking about the playoffs now. We're not going to wait until the playoffs to do playoff videos. Listen, I bring passionate, realistic, and honest Canucks content, right, everyone? This is what I bring night in, night out, and you guys got to understand that I'm not fooling around. I predicted that this team was going to make the playoffs before the season started. Now, they're better than I thought. They're better than I thought, and they're better than you thought. Nobody in the league thought these guys were going to be good. Okay, nobody. So if you like passionate, realistic Canucks content, please hit that like and subscribe. Please follow me on my socials, Facebook, X, YouTube, and Instagram. By the way, my Instagram account is so fun to follow. I do lots of fun things on that account, so check that one out for sure if you're on Instagram. So we're gonna dive into 5 players or five suggestions of playoff players. Now, before we do that, I just want to remind you that Alvin and Rutherford have built this team for the playoffs. They weren't building this team just because they had nothing else to do. That they're like, maybe we could be competitive. It's more than that. They built this team thinking about the playoffs and not just make it into the playoffs. They built this team to say, we want to be a contender. And guys, girls, we're contending. I'm telling you that right now. So that's why I'm making this video, because I'm just following in Rutherford and Alvin's footsteps, and we're believing for playoff success. Now, some people are like, well, this is the other thing I don't get about it. The Oilers are ranked as the most likely to win the cup. Like, that's what the betting odds are. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? I mean, come on. I know they've had a good season. They had a terrible start. But the Vancouver Canucks have been first place in the NHL for most of the year. And if not, first in the Western Conference. So we are contenders. People are like, pump the brakes. No, hit the gas. Watch what this team's doing night in, night out. Yeah, did we have a slump? Yeah, so does every team in the NHL. Every single team has had a slump. We've just had one. Really, just had one. So let's talk about the playoffs here. So we're going to get into 5. I don't know if I should say players, but like, what kind of players do you think about when you think about playoff success, playoff pedigree? What kind of players? Now, some of the guys on this list, you're going to be like, yeah, absolutely. This is a playoff type player. Now, if I miss anyone, please post it in the comments, okay? But these are my 5 suggestions about playoff players that I am so excited to watch them play in the playoffs, okay? And I have this graphic that I'm going to post after maybe next week after this video has been viewed for a number of times, just so everyone can see it. But and I'll post it in here. Okay. So my number one guy, when I think about playoffs, I think of JT Miller, the machine, the man, the guy who is like, he plays every game like it's a playoff game. He's intense, he's skilled, he hits everything that he sees. That's what I love about him. It's the regular season, and he's already playing playoff-type hockey now. He always does. He's a great leader, and best of all, he's difficult to play against everyone. He's absolutely difficult to play against, and he's a prototypical playoff player. You can see it in everything he does already, right? You see it in everything he does already, right? So that's my number one. I mean, that's the most, that's Captain Obvious. That's low-hanging fruit, okay, everyone? Now, number two is this, Thatcher Demko. That's right. To win games and series in the playoffs, you have to have great goaltending. That's not rocket science. That's a fact. And so remember Demko, Bubble Demko? He was deadly. He was dominating. He was unbelievable. That's why we won rounds, is because of him, and Markstrom were phenomenal. When Demko came in and played like that, he won himself the job. And it's like, that's the kind of guy you need in your organization. He was young. He was incredible. And the Canucks routinely have gotten outshot this year. And it's because of Demko that we're winning games as well, right? I mean, it's a whole team effort, but Demko has been on point. And Demko has the potential, the skill set to steal games and steal games in a series to help us win series. So that's my number two guy. That's my number two guy. Okay. My number three guy is someone who I am growing on me, because Nikita Zadorov, when you think about playoffs, you think about a guy like Zadorov. I'm wondering if he's going to take it to another level. Like, to me, sometimes I feel like he holds up a little bit. I think when we watch him in the playoffs, he's going to go next level, and he's going to go nuclear. And he's not going to be dumb like Tyler Myers and take dumb penalties left, right, and center in the playoffs. He's going to be smart, and he's going to – I mean, this guy causes teams so much problems. It's ridiculous. Big, fast, smart. Knows when to go in, when not to. But I'm telling you right now, people are going to think twice. By the way, I don't know if you saw it. I was on Hockey Night in Canada. They asked my question to Zadorov. Loved his answer. Go on my Facebook page, my Instagram page. I think those are the two places I have it. I don't know. I didn't post it in YouTube because it's copyrighted, but check it out. Zadorov is a beast. He is a beast. He's scary to play against everyone. That's a fact. Okay. Now, number four is not going to be a huge shocker to you either, but it's Dakota Joshua. Dakota Joshua. He seems like another guy that was just built for the playoffs, right? Now, he's 6'3", and he weighs 206 pounds, and he's taken his game to another level this season. And he's going to cause problems in front of the net, along the boards, and after the whistle. I'm telling you right now, this guy can kill penalties. He can score goals 5-on-5. He is one of those guys. It's like, we need more Dakota Joshuas in our lineup. That's why a lot of people wanted us to trade for Greenaway from Minnesota. But Dakota Joshua is so much better than Greenaway. So much better. And it's so much fun to watch. So that's my fourth one, okay? And here is my fifth one, and this might be the one that's surprising, because I feel like there's a lot of guys that I wanted to put on this list. But here's the one, the little guys. The little guys. Now, we understand that size matters in the playoffs. Absolutely, size matters in the playoffs. But what about the little guys who play big? It's not all about hitting and being tough, it's not all about hitting, but it's also about being tough, everyone. Players like Quinn Hughes, Niels Höglander, Connor Garland, they might be small in stature, but they act like some of the biggest guys on the ice, and they use their speed, their aggressiveness, and skill to win puck battles and create offense and score goals. These guys, even though they're small, they're not your average small guy. They're not like, sometimes like people criticize our team. Pettersson can't stay up. He falls down all the time. Yes, that happens, right? But not these guys. Höglander and Garland keep their motor running. They keep those legs pumping because they are trying to create offense. They are incredible. What they're scoring 5-on-5 is insane. It's absolutely insane, everyone. And so now, Quinn Hughes is like, he's the best or the second best defenseman in the league. You need guys like that. He's little, but he's trouble, and he's going to be trouble in the playoffs. So I'm pumped about that. Now, there's other guys that we can talk about, like, for example, Bluger, Cole, guys who have won Stanley Cups. I mean, obviously they know what it's like to win. You have defensemen like, not only Zadorov that's big, but you also have Tyler Myers. You also have Susie. Like, these guys are large in stature, tall. They're going to be tough to play against. Hronek's going to be tough to play against in the playoffs. And so these are some of the guys. So I wanted to just make this quick video to talk about the 5 playoff type players that I am so excited to watch. And so I'm going to just go to a couple comments here before I end this video. But Daniel says, playoff players, Zadorov, Miller, Garland, Höglander, Hughes, Joshua, Susie. There you go. We had the same list, basically. Emotional players with an edge. I'm worried about guys like Lindholm and Pettersson. I understand that. But Lindholm's already played in the playoffs, and he's had some success there. So great defensive. Those guys are great defensive players, too, not just offensive, right? And they come invisible too often. Shane, good to have you here. I'm glad you're here. Japan 4's in the building. Good to see you, my friend. And okay, and this is the good part. Monty says, I miss Joshua. Here's the thing. Demko and Joshua are hurt right now. They're both going to be back for the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm with you. Jay says Zadorov has had the most penalty minutes on the team. And that's not surprising, right? And it actually isn't that much. I mean, every time he gets in a fight, that's 5 minutes. So, but we haven't taken a ton of penalties this year from one player. I actually think that doesn't disturb me at all. But I do think about Zadorov after a whistle. He's going to get in there. He's going to cause issues, right? Right. And the little guys, right, Japan 4, they learn from Cliff Ronning, the little big men, right? The little guys who make a big difference. I love it. Your list is basically the same as mine. I just forgot about – how do you forget about Demko, man? Like, goaltending, you can't win a Stanley Cup without goaltending, but I appreciate that we're thinking on the same brain there. Small guys are the gnats that get under the skin of other players with their hustle, ignore them, and get stung. Ooh, I like that, Monty. I like that. Absolutely. That's so great. Joshua will be back in 10 days. Perfect. I mean, whatever you watch this video, you're going to see it, right? James says, I believe this team can make a run. However, I'm afraid of the lack of playoff experience. Too many young guys. James, that's a good pushback for sure. And I'm cool with that. The only thing is the only way you get playoff experience is by being in the playoffs. So, yeah, that's why we added Cole. That's why we added Bluger, right? That's why we traded for JT Miller. That's why we traded for Lindholm. That's why we traded for Zadorov. That's why, even getting Susie. Susie played in the playoffs last year, right? Demko's played in the playoffs. Hughes is playing. You know what? Pettersson played well in the playoffs, in the bubble playoffs. You need to remember that. Like, everyone's kind of down on Pettersson, but at the end of the day, he's already played there and he played well. So let's not count him out saying, well, they can't play. They've already played in playoffs in other leagues. They know what it's like, but I know NHL is a different beast. So I'm with you. I get it, but I'm not as concerned anymore because of the way they're playing. So Daniel says, saw a report on Joshua from 3 days ago, say he'll be back in 10 to 14 days. So less now, probably a week and a half. Okay, sounds good. Good evening, RevTrev. Hey, Dingbat, good to see you. Once Joshua comes back, I think my fantasy season is in the books. Perfect. Yeah, you're ready for the playoffs, for the fantasy playoffs too. So am I. If Zadorov gets penalties, it usually because he crushed someone. I'll take that any day over a stupid penalty. Yeah, that's right. Like some of the cross-check penalties that Myers took in the bubble were dumb. I hope he's learned from that. You don't see that in Zadorov very often. And Monty says, getting quoted on Kempner Canucks is my equivalent to Hockey Night in Canada. Yeah, man, I was pumped about that. So good to have you here. Of course, man. Of course. Of course I quote you. I'll just bring this up again just so you guys can see it, just see the list real quick. JT Miller. Oh, let's take this banner down so you guys can see it properly. Thatcher Demko is my number 2. Miller's my number 1. Zadorov's my number 3. Joshua is my number 4. And number 5 is the little guys with Hughes, Garland, and Hoglander. Hoglander, guys. So, yeah. So that's my video for tonight. I hope that you're doing well. On Wednesday, I'm going to the Colorado game. Cannot wait. Going with some really good friends. Haven't seen in a while. Actually, years. Couple of them. And there's 4 of us going. We got lower bowl tickets. I think we're in section 103. Got my ferry tickets for the Hulu ferry. Pumped about Wednesday night playing Colorado. And so, of course, always, everyone, let's cheer on our Canucks because I'm hoping we go 9-0 on this road trip. 9-0. Come on, not road trip. Home stand. On the home stand, 9-0. That's what I'm hoping for. So, hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for coming by. And of course, always, go Canucks. Go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's win the Stanley Cup, or at least try. At least try. Okay? We got this. We got this. Hit that like and subscribe.